What makes most women start a business? Is it passion, money, or freedom? Welcome to the Female Founders, the podcast that takes you behind the scene with women who are founders and CEOs to help you start and scale a successful business of your own. I am your host, Nagilia de Ravin. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Female Founders. Today, I will be having a conversation with Wendy Nguyen. She is a CPA, entrepreneur, investor, and a financial expert. Good morning, Wendy. I am so excited to have this conversation with you. You are an incredible, amazing woman doing so many different things to help so many people. You have started and led many businesses in different industries. What inspired you to follow this path and how did you begin?
So my path originally is very traditional, which, I go to school, educations, and become an accountant. And what the interesting part about me is that very different is I was not grow up in the U.S. I came to the U.S. when I was 17. So I have a broken English. And I'm blessed because I have a mother who is she is a serial entrepreneur. And early on in my career path, she already said she would like me to become an accountant because accounting is the language for businesses. And so fast forward, she also get familiarized with the space of become an auditor, which is auditing is one step above accounting, where you need to understand accounting very well in order to become an auditor. And so as part of that part, when I become an auditor, when I finished school in like 3.5 years, I was in the US. It's really expensive because I was an international student. So I need to hurry up, finish school so I can earn some money. and also, everything in my life, I feel like it's been just hurry finishing things. Yeah. By the age of 22, I got my CPA's license. And so like 24, I got married, have kids. I was also rushing to have kids as well because it's where, a lot of people say when you got into public accounting, being a CPA, many are struggling with having children. So for me, I was just like, what? I was in the US very by myself. And so at the time, my husband was my only family member. So I want to have kids right away. So I have more family member. And during the part of being an auditor, it's get me to expose to many different industries, from not-for-profit, educations, technology. At the time, I was in California, and right in the year of 2000, so it's a lot of .com. So I get to expose to that part as well. And startup company going public. So it's just a wild in West. And it was very interesting in my journey that I'm kind of like a bookworm and not so much of a communicator. So what struck me is when I become an auditor, I actually have to do a lot more communication. I have to ask people a lot of questions and be able to write something concise on the book to explain the procedure, what I have done. And so because of that, I get to meet more and more people. Like on a weekly basis, I would meet 3 to 5 new people. And so I would force, to go out my comfort zone, because usually when you're an accountant, you're more of the introvert and more of like the mathematic and analytical, right? And now I'm just have to live in a completely different world. A lot of struggling.
Yes.
At the same time, you have no choice, because I was in the US really again by myself. And even when I got married, I become really the breadwinner for the family. So, and it's just life go on. One of the greatest gifts that I have is I wake up every day and feeling I have a lot of joy. And so,
but also I think one thing, Wendy, you also learn a lot, even though, because from accounting to auditing, meeting a lot of people, I think that opened a lot of different doors for you to kind of gain all the experience you have today?
Yes. So the biggest thing that I would say curiosity is when you so curious and you want to be always better of what you're doing, then you need to learn. And I have this philosophy of I'm kind of, and even my mom would say this, it's just like, I don't do things. I create a lot of things for people to do. And so I'm very good at delegations. And this is something that sometimes I say, I feel like I'm being lazy. because because if I look at something that I have done yesterday and I feel like, you know what, I think I can spend less time doing that, then I need to learn a new way or find a way to improve it. And that's what is nudging me to learn more and more.
Wow. But I think that's a great thing. That's a wonderful thing to do. But also that brings to the point that now you are learning not just for the accounting part or the CPA part, or as a financial expert yourself, but also now you're adding coaching into it. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So for the first 15 years of my career, I'm a very professional in the way of auditing and learning all of the technical accounting, technical auditing, and then basically 2012 is when I first started my official accounting CPA business. And at the time, it was 2 years, I actually fell. I kind of struggle with getting additional clients because I think I had this dilemma of being so auditing world is very interesting. It's a very male dominated, and it's also when you showed up, as most people would imagine it would be a white male in their 40s or 50s or 60s to really propose and get an auditing client. So for me, I struggle with that when in 2012 I have a hard time. So then when I start my CPA the first time in 2012, I was doing more work of like a bookkeeping or accounting. Thankfully, at the time, I got a really nice contract with Deloitte, and I become an expert in the field that I was working on at that point. And so my level at that time was like a managerial. Well, so after 2 years, failed being an entrepreneur, even in my own space of a CPA, I went back into public accounting and take on a partnership responsibilities for a mid-sized CPA firm. And then, so going back to your question is what lead me into really business coaching is that in May of 2017, I visited Shanghai, and at the time, I met with this gentleman who used to be, picking plastic bag. He was moving from Myanmar into Shanghai, and he was picking plastic bag on the street at the beginning. When I was meeting with him, he actually had a plastic manufacturing facility, and he was one of the vendor for Apple. So it was in the Foxconn community. And so I was like, wait, this guy coming from a very humble background, and yet, he became very successful at the time to me, being a supplier for Apple, right? And he's in China. So I look back at myself, I have so many experience. Why can't I? And so then that's where May 2017. So then I decide again, there was a big thing that was hitting Houston at the time is the Hurricane Harvey. When I see so many small businesses were struggling, and including not-for-profit, many people have to close down. So I was like, what can I do? How can I use my financial knowledge to help this business? And so I restart my CPA practice. And this time I'm like, you know what? I'm going to become a boutique CPA firm, and I had the knowledge to serve international clients. I have the knowledge of being in business because now I have more confidence because before I transition, I get to learn how to really networking and how to understand that selling is helping, right? Yes. And now I have a better visions and also more equipped. So many people, when I talk, I start meeting with my CPA clients and they say, well, Wendy, you're really inspiring. And why don't you do coaching? And, at the time, I was actually really doubting myself as well, whether I should go into business coaching. And I just select to become a business coach was in actually 2020, like the end of 2020 when, COVID and everything, right? So the reason I had that confidence is people asked me to be business coach since 2018 or even before that, like when I was meeting with a lot of people. And what I seen is that I was able to have a track record that in 2018, when I restart my CPA practice in 2 years and including COVID, I was able to scale my CPA practice to over 7-figure. And now with that knowledge, I was able to go forward with become a business coach. And this wasn't a coincidence because it was very purposefully. I actually hired a coach myself. And that coach, what she's really good at is she actually worked with me to create a curriculum. How can I teach someone to be better at their business? So I basically combine all of my knowledge and bring it forward. So I create something called a 3P formula. It's called passion, profit, and purpose. And so
I like it.
Yeah, so with the 3P formula, actually, I have it published in one of the book called Global Conscious Entrepreneurs. And that book was co-authored with 52 other authors, and it has been translated to 18 different languages. And I published that book in it was February of 2023 when the book was published. And so I look at myself like I continue to apply the formula that I have, growing all of the business that I have. And then I say, you know what, I'm very confident that that formula worked for my business. Then now I can transition over into a business coach because many business coach, they are very good at motivations. And what my strength is that I also understand financial. I understand tax. I understand the dynamic of human resources because, CPA practice is all about human. There's no, we're selling people time, not product.
That's true.
And so every business, you want to thrive in the business, you need location, you need system, and you need people. And so, the system side with accounting, finance, I understand that aspect. And then the people side is really having a right framework to bring everybody together.
And that is actually really amazing with the CPA's firm. So do you have many people working under you with that?
So my CPA firm currently right now, I have about over 25 staff members. And the CPA firm I founded in 2018. And actually for January of 2021, I turned the CPA firm. So this is a partnership. So I have 3 other partners as part of my businesses. And so I actually turned the CEO position into my minority business partners because I feel like I'm not the person that can do all of the day-to-day executions. I'm more of the visionary and more of, I want to be able to continue to empower and bring in more knowledge into my CPA firm. So then I mainly spend a lot of time to study, and then I would provide a new strategies or growth plan. And also I call myself a cheerleader in my CPA firm. Then actually just a day-to-day managing member. And I think that where I feel like I shine the most is being the creativity, the strategist. And my other business partner is amazing at, holding the team together, get the work delivered. It's almost like I'm the front of the CPA firm, go out, meet with the client. Here's the strategies, how we can get things done. And then I have a quarterback that I can just throw and say, here, catch it. And so behind me, I have like 25 staff member to catch whatever I throw in the bag.
Throw in the bag. So, what is one important money tip you think that every business owner should know?
One important money tip.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the most important money tip that every business owner should know is when they spend that money, they need to know, is it an investment or is it an expense? And because when it's an expense, you spend that money, it's gone.
It's gone.
But
yes.
when it's an investment, you know what is the return on investment. You have to calculate what is your return on investment. So, let's say when a business owner, when they hire a staff to do the work,
yes,
right? Payroll is the hardest for every business to keep up with. And so that's why they say, like, when you hire slow, and when you fire fast. Because when you pay that employee, is it an investment in that employee? First of all, it's an investment in the employee. Okay.
Yes.
And so now it's an investment. Do you want to make sure that that investment giving you the return on investment to increase the value of your business? And especially, being able to work with the customers, right? So when you bring in an employee on board, then if the employee is not performing, your investment turn into an expense. So you have to be really extra careful, right? So it's when you interview or before you spend money, you have to be really intentionally investment or expense. And that's the biggest money tip that you need to think about. And so when I have my 3P formula and my clients, when they get to learn my 3P formula, then that question come to them, the answer to that questions come to them very easy.
Yeah, very easy to follow it. But now, another thing is that many people want to turn what they love into business. And a lot of time they try it and they fail. Like you said before, you tried at the beginning, you fail. And I am one of them. I fail many times and I succeed many times. But for you, what are the most important steps to make that happen? From having a hobby and turn it to a successful business, something that you love doing.
Yeah. So to me, everybody have their hobby, right? The question that you're going to ask yourself is, this is the first 3P that the first thing that I have in the, with your hobby, is the hobby that you have, is that a solution to answers into a market need? It's like an artist, right? They can paint a painting to whatever your heart desire. Yes. And now, if you look at the painting, that painting, how is that painting will serve the world or any customers of what their needs potentially is, right? So if you have a solutions, it's a hobby, but how is that going to solve somebody else's problem? And if it's really is solving somebody else's problem, first of all, it needs to solve your own problems. And so when it solves your own problem, then now you can see whether you're an expert of it or there's somebody that is better than you that doing this task. Like I see many people, let's say, for example, somebody can build the very first beautiful website for their hobby. Okay. And then at that part of building that website, they really enjoy doing the website. And they turn around, they say, you know what? I'm going to be a marketing person who building the website for others because I see that it solved my problem. Well, before you start that business, you need to know how many other people out there are also building website. Are you already an expert of building website? You can't just say, I'm building my first website, then I'm going to become and I'm going to go
An
out and
expert.
build for somebody else, right? So your hobby is contain the sustainability of your hobby in turning into a business is really, you need to have the core competencies and you need to be the expert in the industry, because you have to understand that selling is helping. And if you understand selling is helping, then you continue to be able to sell. But if you don't have that, you sell is actually help somebody, then your sales cycle ended.
Just right
And
there.
yeah, and then also the other thing is people have to differentiate between, is this a business or is this a self-employment? Basically, you create a job for yourself, right? Or you actually creating a business, because remember, business need location, need system, and need people. So you cannot say yourself you are a business if you the soloist. You are the person with the system. You are the only staff member in your business. Then that's not really a business. It's still a contractor, it's still a self-employed. And I think that's a lot of time people don't understand that part.
Listening to you saying that make me smile and even laugh a little bit is the fact that I see it every single day. Because people will just wake up like, okay, I start an LLC. And then, for example, I'm going to use Wendy LLC and I'm in business. And I'm like, well, you don't really have a business. You're a self-employee. Because actually, first of all, my advice to people is to never use your name when you're starting a business, a company. I mean, like, a lot of time I've seen people say, I'm the CEO of Nigeria de Ravine. How in hell can I be the CEO of myself? So that's one thing I always get confused with. I'm like, well, how did you become CEO and founder of yourself? So I always tell people, take the time to find a good name for the company. Something people can, they hear what they know. Oh yeah, that's what it's mean. When you hear McDonald's, you automatically know you know burgers. Oh, I gotta get myself a fat burger here. Or even there's a company called Fat Burgers actually.
Mm-hmm.
You heard the name Fat Burgers. When you go, you get a fat burger. That's what it's mean. So it's kind of like I've seen people, like you say, Wendy's just starting companies, and they say they have a companies themselves, working for themselves, and they work 24/7 days a week, and they never really grow because they don't have, like you say, people. Again, that's something I learned early on. When I started Warmel, I couldn't grow Warmel alone. Impossible.
Mm-hmm.
It's like really impossible. I couldn't. Being a new mom, having a company, and I'm looking at it like, wait, how am I going to grow this thing? I can't do this by myself. It's impossible. And that's when I started to reach out. Okay, I need partners. I need help. I need support. I need guidance. I can use all the help that I can get. That's a business. That's how you grow. But by myself, how many hours do I have in a day to be the CPA, to be the financial expert, to be the accountant, to be the coach of myself, to be the graphic design, to you can't really. And that's something I completely agree with you. And that's the reason why I was smiling and laughing, is because that's something I see every single day. People don't understand that when you're starting a business, you are going to need help.
Yeah.
And if you really want it, either start a hobby, which is you make money off of it, but it's something you do for the fun of it. You're a solopreneur. Or you start a company where you're going to need help. You need to hire people.
Yeah. Well, to me is I actually, when I always have this idea that I don't ever open a business by myself. I always looking for business partners, because there's two things, right? The first thing, like you mentioned, that we don't have enough hours in the day. Actually, for me is being an auditor, I always looking at risk. So if you are finding a customers and you are helping a customer and you are the only single point of contact for that customer, if you get hit by the bus, what's going to happen to the business? What's going to happen to the client, right? So that's the very first thing because life is uncertainty, and the only thing that's certain in life is death and tax.
Yes.
So I guess I'm thinking in a very, protective way, for especially I take great pride in take care of my customers. So I don't want to be the single point of failure in the business. So I always looking for partners, because if something happened to me, my partner can step in.
Yes.
So that's the very first thing. And then the second thing is that you need to know your why. Why did you start this business? What is the vision? How far you want to go with it?
Sure.
And so if you, like I mentioned to you, my first time when I failed in 2012 is I didn't have a clear visions. And
Yes.
now when 2018, my vision is very clear. I want to be able to international. I want to be able to be a boutique CPA firm, and I want to be able to bring something that is very different. That is, CPA firm is a lot of compliance, but at the same time, CPA firm, people will look at the CPA and also try to help them to operating a business to become profitable. But I would tell you, 90% of CPA are not business owner mindset or entrepreneur mindset. And so I want to make that change. I want to be the leader in the industry that I say, hey, CPA, you already have the fundamental. So let's making sure that you go further in advance. So my ideal customer for business coaching is actually I want to coach other CPA to become a business owner, to become an entrepreneur, because when they become that, then they can be the finance partner for all of their customers.
Correct.
Because like I know, is entrepreneurship and CEO is a very lonely journey. And
yes, it is.
You want to stay in your lane. You start your business because you love doing something, like I'm going back to, let's say somebody really good at building house. They're really good at building house, but they're not good at the finance side. So we as the CPA accountants are very good at that. Then come in and collaborate, so that you take that burden off instead of this person have to wear so many hats and cannot go anywhere. So going back, really my business coach, I love to coach other CPA. I love to coach other accountants to really, because you already have one leg up and you can do more. And being really in the partnership relationship with your customers than, just being a numbers, right? And, that's where I speaking about that. The one thing business owners need to know, the money tips is, I think even for everybody, is like, is it an spend or is it an investment? Right?
But there's something also interesting about you, Wendy. You also help produce a movie. Do we call it a fragile flower?
Yes.
What? Let's look at it this way, right? I was learning about you for the past 2 weeks because I love to spend time learning who I'm going to talk to. And I'm like, okay, she's a CPA. Okay. Wait, she produced a movie? How? So what made you want to work in film? And what was the experience like? Because that's something like anyone would love to do that. Me, myself, I would love to produce a movie. That would be cool, right? How did you get into that?
So, Nagilia, I walk my talk, okay? My talk is, my lane, the only thing I'm good at is numbers, finance, and coming to partnership with people. So the movie production, I play a really, really small role. Okay. So I had get into this group of organization called Women International Network that was founded in Vietnam. Okay. And we was, so I get to meet with a very powerful, talented actress and film director from Vietnam. Her name is Mai Thu Nguyen. And she is the same age as I am. And I saw how she already produced different movies in Vietnam, and I really admire her talent. So when she come to the US, then I say, you know what, you have this talent, and she have a company called Tincom Media over in Vietnam. And I say, well, if you want to, you can also have a Tincom Media global company here in the US. And what I can provide for you is basically just a legal structure platform here in the US. And you can, because she won so many different awards that from the US side and Asia and Europe. And so I just want to be her business partner. And so she approached me. I think it was like, beginning of 2023 or end of 2022. And she's like, well, I finally have somebody want to produce a movie. So they were looking for me to help them. And I said, sure, go for it. And you already have the platform. So she was running the whole show. I am the supporting role, and stay behind the scenes. I came to the movie while she directing. She was doing everything like in 2 months or 3 months period from recruiting cast member. Well, in total, it was a 5 months project, recruiting cast members, and all the way to filming the movie. Everything was filmed in California and Las Vegas, and she did the whole show. I showed up probably like 5 times while she was doing all of the directing. I'm very much behind the scene. I love to supporting other talented people. Like I say, I'm just bringing my finance background into it.
Wow.
And I believe I'm here to help. So producing a movie, again, you have the talent. I can share with you the talent. If you want to produce the movie, I'll connect you with the director. And she did the whole thing. I mean, she created the budget, the cast members, very, very talented director. And
but it was amazing.
I show up in the movie, my face catch on the movie a couple of times, but that's about it. I'm very like just stay behind the scene.
Women in business, like you just we talked a little bit about it. People face a lot of issues in business, but women face a lot more when it comes to business. They have their own unique challenges that they face, especially as moms. We take care of the grandparents. We have a lot going on. So what advice would you give to women who want to grow their careers or start a company?
What advice would I have for a woman if she wants to start a company?
Yes.
Okay. So I will have 3 advice. Okay. Which is going to be going to my 3P formula. The first P I talk about the passion. I talk about is the core competencies, which is, do you think you're already an expert in the business that you plan to start? The core competency is very important. Because like I would not start a CPA firm without I'm already an expert in my auditing and accounting field, right? I know when I come to audit, I can audit any companies. So that's the confidence that you need to have. The very, very first thing, are you already the expert, right? And a lot of women also feel like they're not enough and not an expert. Yes. And how do you know you're an expert is you need to look at your track record. And if you already turnkeys, it's like for many, many projects. Like I turnkey over 300 projects auditing that I have done. And so if you turnkeys everything over 100 projects, or if it's a bigger project, maybe it's a smaller, right? But you need to have at least 40,000 hours that you have worked in that business of yourself, or, even just 10,000 hours, which means it's like 5 years. You need to have at least 5 years that you're working into that space to consider yourself to be somewhat of an expert. but it's really like, the golden number is almost like 40,000 hours that you have spent. And 40,000 hours is like, average person working a year is 2,000 hours, right?
Yes.
But for my industry, it's like we working an average of, I don't know, sometimes can be 3,000 hours because we work in 50, 60 hours a week.
That's
And
a lot.
so it's a lot, in the CPA side. So that's why it's like a lot of fast track for being an accountant and auditing and in public accounting. So, I mean, that's the number one advice that I have is making sure that you are the expert. Because when you taking on that account and being that customers, you want to be the best solution provider for the person that you bring in as your customer. So you need to take pride in your work, right? So that's the first thing, the core values. And then the second is the profit, right? If you have so much passions and you get into this business, but you don't know how to calculate the profitability of the business, then you need to pause and think about it. Right? Because it's sometimes, people get into business and then they work 24/7 and it's end up that you look at your hourly wage is become like $2 an hour. Then is it worth it for you to sacrifice all of this time to work in this business? So you also have to understand the value of your time, that when you are working in the business. So the profitability, you have to be able to calculate your profitability from day one. Don't just sit there and say, I'm going to washing by the time I get the customer in, I have to spend whatever I need to spend. And then I wish that this is going to be my profit, or I'm just going to work really hard, more customers, then I'm going to have more profit. That's not the equivalent. So I would have, one book that I would suggest everybody would read is called Profit First. And so that's what help you to calculate the profitability. And then the third P that I have is purpose. Like, why are you doing this business? And let's say you do the business because you're so passionate about it, you bring home a lot of profitability. And now what are you using the money for? Right? The money, what is the money that you bring in at the end of the day for? Because many people would get into business and say, you know what, I get in business, I can make a lot of money. And there are many talented people and they can get a lot of money, right? And so it's the purpose. The purpose is this a lot of money that you're generating? Is it for your family, for the community, for the future generation, for leaving you a legacy? Like, you also need to know the purpose. And if your purpose, because your purpose, when you fulfill your purpose, then that's gonna be fueling you to go into your passions. Sure. And you want to, be better and better at your work. Because, for me, it's like, I had the competency being a good auditor. And then I create a CPA firm that can bring me profit. But then, being a good auditor is not enough for me to say that I can help more people with profitability, right? So then, my purpose for my CPA practice is all about making a difference and profitability and build a bigger team. And so in that case, then I need to improve and learn myself in my core competency is become a better business owners. So I go out and I learn from other entrepreneurs. And I can pause on the technical side of being an auditor because then that's somebody else in my team member can pick that piece up. Yeah. Right? So you have to very clearly identify what is your passion, what is the profit, and why are you doing that? Who are you helping? So your purpose circle is also very important.
So we have passion, profit, and purpose. These three will keep you going.
Yes.
So now, how can someone reach out to you for your guidance as a coach, as a CPA? How can they reach out to you?
Yeah, so they can reach out to me first of all through my CPA channel, which I have my cell phone number posted all over the place. It's 832-287-1709. I have my my LinkedIn profile. Wendy Nguyen, CPA, Houston, Texas. They can reach out to me via LinkedIn profile, and I'm thankful for Womenly because you guys gonna have my information also on the newspaper, right? So people can just Google me, and I also have a book that published on Amazon as well called "How to Get Paid Doing What You Love." Actually, my life mission that I would like to inspire over more than 1 million people get paid doing what they love. And so my aspect of business coaching is a passion of mine. And the reason that I went into become my latest studying right now is become an art therapy coaching, because I feel like with the art, it's going to help the creativity side keep going.
Yes.
And then the business because business is fluid and it's changing all the time. So we need to find a way that we can marry the two, so people don't feel they get stuck. Because a lot of people now like feeling they stuck, right? Art is actually a visionary because they can put something on the picture and nobody can even imagine that is a possibilities. So when you incorporate the art, basically you work in both your left brain and your right brain.
Well, thank you so much, Wendy, for give me the chance to talk to you, to kind of get your perspective as well, the way you see things as a financial expert, but also as a coach. And for all you do, because you look at things in a different way. Like you said, that there's the things that you love to do. There's the things that's not your specialty. And that's why you have a team to take care of them for you, so you don't have to worry about them. And I like when you said that you just threw them at them. Just like, bingo, catch it if you can. So it's, if all small business owners can look at it this way as well, we can grow, right? A lot of time we try to do everything on our own. That's the reason why we fail in the first 5 years, because we try to do it all. But can you do it all? Do you really supposed to know everything on earth? No, you're supposed to know what you know best, and then let somebody else do what they do best. So I thank you for all you do, and also for supporting other women. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway is that, knowing your life purpose is identify that. And then really when you start a business, you really need to look at your lifestyle also.
Yes.
What is your lifestyle? And my lifestyle right now is that, I have this big mission that I want to go forward. My lifestyle is a healthy living lifestyle. And so I also into the luxury that I enjoy in my life right now is travel and learning at the same time. And then my latest venture actually is I start Hawaii Fluid Art. Is a franchise that I just incorporate, and I've opened my first location here in Houston. And my plan is to have 10 locations in Houston, because this is the place that I feel like people can come, become, where artists, family, business can come and team building and creating a visions. So, the biggest part, really the one takeaway for people with starting a business is having a visions. And making a lot of money is not a visions. No. So what is the vision and your lifestyle, and how much and how hard you willing to go and working on that visions? And I have an ambitious goal. So with over 1 million people and the healthy lifestyle. So I feel like I work and play 24/7.
Well, thank you so much, Wendy. I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for listening to Female Founders Podcast. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app or connect with us on womel.com so that you don't miss our next episode. See you next time. Bye for now.